I'd like to call the village board meeting for the Village of Cary for November 16th, 2021 to order with roll call, please.
Cavelli? Here. McAlpine?
Here.
Weinhammer?
Here.
Collier?
Here.
Dudek?
Here.
Walrath?
Here.
Thank you. At the conclusion of the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like everybody to remain standing for a moment of silence for a Cary resident who's a fallen Algonquin Lake in the Hills firefighter paramedic who passed away on November 10th, Tammy Pullen, who happens to be Rick Waller's sister-in-law. So if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Absolutely. Thank you. We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment, not otherwise on the agenda. I have nobody signed in. Is there anybody here? Everybody here is for village business here. So we'll go ahead and close open forum at 6:02. A couple things on my mayor's report. First, through Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, the governor has extended his executive orders again until December 11th, so we will stay in the same position we are now with mask mandate, and elected meetings can be attended remotely, so everything is still the same as it is, and he's going to be evaluating these every 30 days. So that's where we are with that right now. I have an employee recognition. Jim Signar is with the police department for 20 years, who happens in the 20-year anniversary. Chief, did you want to?
Yeah, this is a picture that I was sent when I asked him if he was going to show. Said he answered that question, which it doesn't look like he's going to appear, number one. But we did have a recognition lunch with him and his parents that attended. He has two Chicago police officer brothers that also attended as well on November 4th. So we just wish Officer Signar good luck in his preferred activity and for the future in his retirement.
Yeah, it should be noted that this is 20th anniversary and retirement.
Right.
Dual purpose
Well
celebration.
done. Thank you for your service to the village of Cary. I have one proclamation today, National Impaired Driving Prevention Month, whereas the December holiday season is traditionally one of the most deadly times of the year for impaired driving, and whereas for thousands of families across the state and nation, holidays are a time to remember loved ones, lost ones, and whereas the Village of Cary is proud to partner with the Illinois Department of Transportation, traffic safety, and other traffic safety groups in the effort to make our roads and streets safer. Now, therefore, I, Mark Koenig, Mayor of the Village of Cary, do hereby proclaim December 2021 to be the National Impaired Driving Month for the Village of Cary, dated this 16th day of November. And so I just wanted to make a recognition too. We do have, we recognize Rick Walrath's sister-in-law, but I do want to recognize Rick Walrath. He completed the New York Marathon last week. Well done. Thank you for representing Cary in that. Thank you. Happy that you were able to do that.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm not aware of any trustee reports. Does anybody have anything for us here today? Okay. My new packet. Just saying. Huh?
We're getting used to it.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit clumsier, but it's well worth it, right? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through H as shown on the village's website, as displayed on the video monitor during the village boarding, as amended for the committee of the whole on 11/12, at 11/2/2021.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Walrath?
Yes.
Weinhammer?
Yes.
Cavelli? Yes. Collier?
Yes.
Dudek?
Yes.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to items for separate action, I will entertain a motion to approve the receipt and acceptance of the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended April 30th, 2021, and the auditor's required communication letter.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Director Ducharme, do you have a couple opening comments? He's muted.
Mike, you're on mute.
I appreciate the work done by Selden Fox, who has prepared the village's audit for a number of years. I appreciate all the hard work that goes into it. Tonight, to present the audit, we have Ed Tracy, who's the Senior Vice President, partner in charge of the village's audit. And he'd like to make a small presentation tonight in front of the village.
Thank you. Hi, Ed.
Hi. Thank you for having me here this evening, and thank you for allowing our firm the opportunity to work with the village again this year. Just a couple of notes on the audit this year. We appreciate the assistance, first of all, from Mike and his staff and Jacob and everyone. The cooperation was, again, excellent this year. As part of our audit, we do provide opinions on two sets of financial statements. One is the government-wide financial statements, which is kind of on a more of a long-term perspective, and then the fund financial statements, which is kind of what you're used to seeing on a regular basis. We made 5 adjustments to the fund financial statements during the audit. The largest was to record retainage payable on the Police Village Hall construction project and the well rehabilitation project, so that these were costs that were incurred but were held back for payment, but they should be recognized as an expense. So that was the largest adjustment we made. We also make adjustments to convert the fund financial statements to the government-wide financial statements, so recognize long-term assets, long-term liabilities that do not get recognized in the fund financial statements. And these types of adjustments generally come from schedules provided by Michael and his staff, and they're typical to what we prepare on an annual basis. We also do test internal controls over the cash receipts, cash disbursements, payroll functions. We found that those controls were operating as designed and could be relied upon. We do that to determine the extent of our substantive procedures and not necessarily to provide an opinion on internal control, but if we do find weaknesses or significant deficiencies in the control structure, we're required to bring those to your attention, but we did not have any of those this year. Just a couple of highlights from the financials themselves. So the government-wide financial statements, again, this is kind of a long-term perspective. Fixed assets are capitalized on the balance sheet and depreciated over time as opposed to being expensed. Debt is put on the balance sheet and payments reduce the liability rather than being an expense. Governmental activities had net income of about $1.3 million, and the business type activities, which are the water and sanitation and the parking lot funds, had a net income of about $940,000. On the fund financial statements, the major funds this year were the general fund, the 2020 bond fund, and the infrastructure capital improvement fund. So a major fund is any fund that has more than 10% of the total assets, liabilities, revenues, or expenses of the village. The general fund reported revenues over expenses of about $1.5 million before transfers to other funds of about $600,000. The ending fund balance was about 89% of the expenditures for fiscal year 21, and of the ending fund balance of about $7.4 million, of that amount, $5.8 million was considered unassigned and available for spending. The 2020 bond fund was a new fund this year, created from the proceeds of the $10.6 million general obligation alternate revenue series 2020 bonds. The fund had capital outlay expenditures of just over $3 million this year, and debt service expenditures of about $360,000. And the fund balance at the end of the year was considered restricted for future capital projects. Overall, the governmental funds had revenues under expenditures of about $2 million, but after taking into consideration bonds issued, bond premium, and transfers, the combined fund balances of the governmental funds increased by about $9 million. From a budget perspective, general fund revenues were about 1.3 million over the budget of 8.5 million, and expenses were about 250,000 under the budget of 8.5 million. And all the major functions within the general fund, that be general government, public safety, highways and streets, were all under budget by about 1 to 3%. Lastly, just to kind of highlight the pension liabilities for IMRF and the police pension fund, the IMRF net pension liability decreased from about 1.8 million to about 380,000. So, and it was 98% funded at the end of the year. The police pension fund net liability decreased by about 2.1 million and was 62% funded, up from about 52% funded the year before. So in general, just the audit process I felt went very smoothly this year. Again, I thank Michael, Kelly, and the rest of the staff for all their assistance. And overall, very solid year for the village.
Thank you, Ed. Does anybody here on the board have any questions for Ed regarding the audit?
Nope. Great news.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Michael, do you have any other comments?
No other comments at this time, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, I'd just like to thank Mike and his staff, Kelly Brainerd and Brian Leahy. There's a lot of work that goes into the audit, preparing for the audit. Takes a lot of time out of the year, and appreciate their work every year on this.
Thank you. I ditto that. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Hudak,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Thank you. Department head reports, Chief Finland? Nothing. Director Morimoto?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of reminders for the residents this fall. First off, winter parking restrictions. Again, the reminder, those begin December 1st through March 31st, so no overnight parking during the winter months, and also restrictions during our bigger snow events. And then the other reminder is that the final week of yard waste pickup is not this coming week, but the week after. So you have 2 more opportunities to get leaves and yard waste placed for Flood Brothers to retrieve. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if we could step back, Courtney, thank you. Mary Carey Parade. So we're going to do it this year. Last year we had the hybrid approach, but this is a real deal this year. So I think everyone's excited to go back to the normal parade setup. So just for the board and the public's benefit, December 5th, 12 noon to about 3:30 p.m. Parade's going to start at 1. So I look forward to seeing you all there.
I think I kind of blew you off there, didn't I?
Hey, it's all good.
You know, this new agenda packet, I don't know.
I would say too, in all seriousness, if there are comments, we're trying a new, I guess, packet preparation tool. If there are any comments from the board, be happy to take those. It's a trial right now.
free.
So if you do have any feedback, please let me know.
Thank you. I'm getting used to it, I guess.
I've already got your feedback.
Anyone but the mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other future agenda items in discussion by the village board this time? None said. I will make a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none.